Sony sibling rivalry, X93L versus X95L, a comparison of the two top 85-inch mini LEDs from Sony in 2023. One of my favorite comparisons ever to shoot, as well as the most complicated.
I've seen things most people wouldn't believe.
Hey, what's up guys? I am Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me as we look at the X93L at 85 inches on the left and the X95L at 85 inches on the right. The X95L is elevated as the furniture that it's on is simply a bit higher. They are both in frame. They're both being filmed at Value Electronics throughout the day, from mid-afternoon to late afternoon to evening. So you'll see it in a bright room, not so bright room, and then in a darker room. I'll be returning to the store to film it in a completely dark room in their dedicated theater in the back of the store. Special thank you to Robert and Wendy Zone of Value Electronics. Please consider making your next AV purchase through them. Check the description below for all their information. Let them know that Brian at Brian's Tech Therapy sent you. They will take great care of you. We filmed this in their Scarsdale location. I was there for about 11 hours filming these using two different cameras. Now, the goal was to give you the proper exposure, not to clip the highlights. The displays are of different brightness, but it's not a big difference to where one will really clip. I'll tell you where that happens throughout the video. Quickly, we're going to look at the design differences between the two. Both are very elegant and well made. Gunmetal black on the bezel of the X95, and we have a silver bezel on the X93L. I rather have the black of the X95L. However, both again are very premium. They are both very solid. They're very heavy. They're a little bit thick as they are mini LED with a lot of zones. They both remind me of Master Series. We're going to go through the settings here. Both have been reset, and you will see them in their most accurate custom preset. They will remain in this preset throughout the video, except for one small part of the demo where I will show you how bright they get, but they will remain the way you see them now the entire time. I will show you gradation preferred and brightness preferred. However, throughout the video, they will remain in gradation preferred. I don't always love doing this. I typically like to wander outside of the presets to show you what they can really do. However, for the points of these two amazing TVs, we will leave them accurate. I will return and give you a more juiced up version of both. But even as I went into gradation preferred or brightness preferred, I didn't feel like I was giving the X95L, which is brighter, a huge advantage. So I felt it more appropriate to keep them accurate. I am changing the local dimming to high as I want blooming to be as minimal as possible. However, some believe medium local dimming would be better as to not crush shadow detail. Sony is known to keep shadow detail intact. I will tell you throughout the video where I feel there may be some black crush on the X95L versus the X93L. Now, in keeping the brightness and exposure in check throughout, I will elevate the exposure at certain times to show you the differences in blooming, and I will tell you when that happens. I will not underexpose them to hide blooming. But by leaving it too bright and having it clip, then they don't look accurate. But this is, throughout the video, what it looks like to me in person. So you'll see me jump different demos throughout the different times of day. It is very bright at Value Electronics with a sun, a big window above me, and windows to the left and right. The skylight is massive. And throughout the video, you'll see at times where the X95L's brightness does show through, and it'll almost give it a paler look. That's not a lack of color, it's simply brighter. For me, as we go through this video, and I'll mention why it's complicated throughout the video, as we do have a lot of time to discuss it. That local dimming for me is the big difference. Now, though we are head on for the majority of this video, I will go off angle to simply show you where the X95L really pulls away with its local dimming. Again, it is a bit brighter. Is it much brighter? It is not. But dead center, both look amazing. They both have excellent local dimming. Blooming is a non-issue for both. Now, the complications for the X93L and the X95L is the X95L comes in one size. It is not the successor to last year's X95K, so that's confusing there. It is only one size in the US. Outside the US, there are 3 sizes. However, I cannot tell you that they all perform the same, as I cannot see them. X93L is the successor to last year's X95K. It has been called a rebadging. It's been dismissed as a rebadging. I do know the processor has more memory than it did last year. It does lack the XLR clear that the other TVs of 2023 have. Here I will again overexpose the camera a bit to show you a bit more of the blooming in daylight. What's interesting is they actually perform better in a dark room, which is typically the opposite. Now, the X93L being a rebadging or being dismissed as such, the X95K, which I was one of the first on the platform to review the 85, one of the few to review the 85. 85 was fantastic. The other sizes, 65 and 75K, did behave differently. I've been assured that the X93L this year is the same on all 3 sizes. So is it a rebadging? Can't say it's a full rebadging. I will tell you that if it is, it's a rebadging of the 85, which was fantastic. The time of this video, the X95K is about $250 cheaper. I rather have a newer panel, but you're not saving a ton of money by going into last year's model. Quickly going with our good friend Jennifer Gala. This is my favorite demo for blooming. It's got a very aggressive aspect ratio. We will go off angle to show you how they both behave. Now, dead on, they both look fantastic. The black bars are very black. Now remember, the signature for Sony is shadow detail, not blooming. However, I will tell you this year, with these 2 premium products, they handle the blooming fantastic. And unlike the competition, they do not dim the image to control blooming, which is excellent. Moving off angle here, watch how far off I have to go. As we look at the X95L, we are still completely black in the bars. And you'll see a bit of haloing here. Now the exposure on the camera is not changing, but look how extreme. I have to go up on my tippy toes looking down and very, very off to the side to see it. Doing the same here, you really don't see it on the X95. At the time of this viewing, the X95 is at 85 inches, $5,299. The X93 is $4,499. I only mention that and I don't put it in the video in print as the prices do change. They can change rapidly. This video will be up forever. That is a big difference in price. But I will tell you in the beginning of this video, for me, the light control, the processing, and the clarity of the X95L is what I see. You're not chasing peak brightness here, and you're not losing detail in the peak brightness. There are times as we look at the local dimming of the X95L that it is better, and it gives you more micro contrast, much like an OLED, over the X93. However, there's times where the X93L will look brighter. And for me, the local dimming is what's keeping the X95L looking deeper, but almost not as bright. So it's interesting. You have to really be there on person, or in person, I should say. Special thank you to our good friend Jennifer Gala for her amazing content. Her channel, Jennifer Gala, and HDR Super Channel is what you'll see throughout this video. Thank you, Jennifer. Check the description below, and please like and subscribe to both of her amazing channels. I like these videos, their saturation and the transitions are flawless. Both have excellent motion, but the clarity this year is really off the charts. And Sony, while the processing almost seems like a tagline at this point, it really is the real deal. They are on another level. The other manufacturers had definitely caught up last year, and now Sony pulls away yet again. This is fine detail in the image. Recently checked out the A80L. It's really the OLED at 77. It's really the fine details that Sony shows you. The XR clear that the X93 is missing this year. Low bitrate content, that up conversion, that will really show through. However, Sony is known even last year to have great up conversion. So is it a big loss? I would say no. But it is something to be mindful of. Very deep, beautiful colors. What I like about Sony this year too is they find the way to keep things saturated but accurate. And even seeing them in person, I was shocked, because I've seen them separately, how close they really are. Now, quickly as I transition into, oh, not this one, I'll tell you in a bit, there is a scene where you'll see more stars on the X93. That could be where it's a bit more aggressive, the X95, with its local dimming. I believe that can be rectified by going into medium. But they both look, again, fantastic. Now, I'll be comparing the Z9K at 85 inches to the X95L. Some of you have mentioned that the brightness of the Z9K at nearly 4,000 nits. When I see them kind of close to each other, the fact is, if the brightness can't be controlled, that is an issue. Now, with the X95L, it is control. And I think the bright image and the local dimming of both is where you really set it apart. You can see here where the X93 almost looks brighter, but there is more detail on the X95. The different colors here with the shark, there's a paler color. It is where the brightness will pull ahead on the X95. But it's not lack of color, it's just simply brighter. This is all Jennifer's content. Now we are in a darker room now. Again, the time frames are all over the place as I compile the video. But these are very slow transitions. Now here you will see the brightness clip, but that's interesting because you will see where the X95 doesn't lose detail, but that is the brightness difference there. Trying to match to the brighter panel throughout the night is what took me the longest. This is the one part where I slipped up on it, but it does illustrate where it's brighter. Which is great though, is by them being so close, I didn't have to manage that so much, where if you had, say, a bright LED versus an OLED, that's where you end up clipping one over the other. Now, I haven't seen the other 93Ls, though I've been assured they perform the same. I do always feel that the larger panels, due to more zones, will perform better in terms of local dimming and will appear brighter or be brighter. That's just what I've learned throughout the years. But as I mentioned in the intro, the part that is tough or complicated with Sony's lineup this year is the numbers. Having only one X95L, where a lot of you... Now here we look at the transition. You can see a bit more blooming on the X93L, but it is a slow transition, and by the LG logo, there is a bit more blooming on the X93. It's not crazy, but again, these are slow transitions. Going back to that LG demo in a completely dark room, or close to completely dark, I do have sconces behind me. What I like about when the 93L does bloom, it doesn't bloom around the image by creating much of a halo. It does brighten the whole thing, but it still looks fantastic. These are slower transitions. But typically with Sony's, there is that trade-off of, it's blooming, but it's got the shadow detail. I think they have found, and here though, the X95L doesn't look nearly as bright in that last shot. Now here's the one area where we will wander into the standard preset to show you the brightness. So advanced contrast is enabled for these few seconds. And they are bright, they're lighting up the entire area. But the confusion for Sony only having one size for the X95L, because many of you want these smaller sizes. It's not just price, it's having the TV in your area. Some 85 is a big size. The other downside to the 85 is that it's not going to be reviewed by very many, especially the X93L. So it's important to hear how I'm describing it, what I'm telling you I'm seeing. This is a faster transition, so the X93L struggles here. Now, I will increase the exposure and be off angle to show you the difference between both. High exposure, the X95L still looks great, less blooming. Higher exposure here, you can see more blooming on the X93L. Now, even off angle, the X95L does fantastic. The 93, you can see the haloing around. Now remember, the exposure is up for this shot. I need to say that throughout. Now back to the exposure. Love this video from Jen, as it's a very slow drop. Now Sony, again, with the zone counts, I don't know the zone counts on both of them, but it's all about the algorithm for them. That's part of their processing. You can have a million zones, a million mini LED zones. If you can't control the light, it doesn't matter. At times, having more zones and lack of control can be a detriment. Even with the X90L, their entry to the mid to high end has great local dimming now with less zones. You can also see here on the X95L, towards the end of this transition, it will be brighter in the whites. And when it gets full screen like this, you can see where the local dimming can lose control a bit, as there's so much white and the black is being pushed out here. Here you see more stars on the X93L. That's one of the few points where you'll see a little bit more detail, where the local dimming is probably a bit more aggressive. Again, can be rectified with probably going to medium. However, to have less blooming, I would go for that all day. And when I say about the shame of them being 85 inches, is I know very few of you are going to see these TVs live, whether it's in a local store or in someone else's home, which is why I like showing you that. Now we're here using the Spears and MUNSIL calibration disc. Amazing work by those two. You'll see me interview them in a month or so. Now we are at 2,000 nits. Pushing it over didn't really give the X95 an advantage other than clip it, so there was no reason for me to show that to you. But the demo material here is top notch. And again, they both look stunning. Love the colors. And again, keep in mind, we are in the custom preset. Live color disabled. Reality creation disabled. So if you think the image isn't saturated enough, there's plenty of headroom for Sony TVs in their movie settings to where you can make the image look however you like. Now, I do feel in this comparison, it elevates them both. It shows you that the X95L, while more expensive, is a premium product that I would be willing to spend extra money for to reduce the blooming, have better local dimming, and a better clarity. Again, with that XR clear, you're going to see more detail and better up conversion on lower bitrate content, depending on how much of that you watch. I like the black design, the gunmetal black. However, the X93L, I hope this for you guys takes away that it's been dismissed. It is available in 2 other sizes. I wish there was a 55. Because to me, the elegance and the even elegance of their processing is what sets them apart from TCL and Hisense and even Samsung. There's so much competition in the mini LED space. But where Sony excels is, again, that processing. It is not market speak, it is legit. I wish you could all see it in person. Coming up to the end of the video, let me know what you think in the comments. You can see here where it's brighter on the X95L. And here with the owl again, shadow detail. I will jump off the tripod to show you off angle, and then I will increase the aperture, I will increase the exposure so you can see a bit more of the blooming, but you can see here where the X93L loses a little detail within the face of the hawk. It almost clips. Again, micro contrast on the X95L. What do you guys think of both? Would you consider them? And if the X93 is a rebadging, it is of the 85-inch. I have to hit that home, as that it was the best of the group. Still a great TV, which has been updated, by the way. Now jumping off the tripod, showing you the specular highlights of both. They do appear about equal. Perhaps slightly brighter, but you don't lose detail. You don't see a lot of clipping. But they do look fantastic. If it was so much brighter, that area there would lose the detail, which is sometimes what we see when we have different levels of brightness or filming them. The details are amazing on both of them. Now trying to raise the exposure and lower it. And what I like is they both look good no matter what you do. Again, I'll return and do some more juiced up settings for you guys to show you how vibrant they can really be. But they're plenty vibrant in its most accurate preset, which is the custom preset. Now here off angle, you can see that even very much off angle in a completely dark room or nearly completely dark, how well they do. You see a little bit of haloing there. It's almost a light purple, and more on the X93L. But look how far off I have to get to show that to you. They both look amazing. There it is, a bit more off angle pushing, and then here, same off angle, it's not as obvious on the X95L. Local dimming off the charts for the X95L. Could be why it's only available in the one size. Look how, as I raise the exposure to try and show you more of it, they both look fantastic. Even as I increase the exposure, there the blooming is not bad. Leaving it the same for the X95L, it's even better. Alright guys, in closing, I think both TVs are amazing. They're 85 inches. Let me know what you think. Would you now consider the X93L, or would you go for the X95L, or go back to last year's X95K, which is only a few $100s cheaper? Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. Have a great day. Take care.